Welcome back to the journaling room. It's always good to be on here on a Monday evening, 9 p.m. GMT, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great to be on here. And I just wanted to say thank you to the people that join me at 9. I know I have my regular people who always give a little shout out, say where they're joining from, but I was at a few events this weekend and I had a couple people say, yes, I do join. I do see you on a Monday at 9, and I was so excited. And I was like, you've never commented. I didn't know you were watching. So to those of you watching quietly, welcome. And for those of you who would like to, do let me know where you're joining from. Excited about today's show. Excited about today's guest. We're going to have some fun tonight. I know we normally go for 20 minutes, but I just have this feeling we may run a little bit longer today. So yes, I just wanted to say thank you to those joining. Thank you to those that are recommending me to your friends and people who are writing books. I really, really appreciate it. And I would love to tell you more also about our school community. If you know school, SKOOL, we are on there, and it's called the Journaling Experience Academy, the Journaling Experience Academy. So for anyone interested, I will drop the link in the comments to join our school community. It's kind of the behind the scenes. It's people who love to journal. I would say it's for those who love to journal and those who love to plan. And so on Wednesday, the 30th of September, the last Wednesday of Q3, we will be having my quarterly journaling experience. It's where we reflect on the quarter that has gone and we plan and set our goals and everything else for the quarter ahead. So it'll be a quarter four journaling experience, and they're powerful. And because I have a fashion background, we also look at the style. It will be autumn winter. We'll be looking at the style and how your style links into your goals as well. So if you want to join us, join the school community and we'll let you in. It's on school. It's the Journaling Experience Academy, and we'll have a lot of exciting things going on in there. So this is kind of like live for everyone, and then the academy is a community where we kind of get together and we really start digging in to some practical things. So if you're interested in taking what we do here to another level, join the school community. And also, as many of you know, I'm a book coach, so that's what I do. I've been doing so much work behind the scenes for the last few years. So what I'm doing now is just literally taking you behind the curtain. These are some of the people I've worked with over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, helping them self-publish their books. So again, if you know anyone that's got a book in them or that's written one and doesn't know what to do next, or they're stuck trying to get it onto Amazon, I'm your girl. So give me a shout, Camelle-ilona.com, or YouTube or Instagram, all the places, Camelle-ilona, that's where you can find me. And I also do personal branding sessions, so where people want to get their brand message just right for the things that they need to do, and sharing their gift, their book, their whatever it is to the world. Again, that's what I do. So without further ado, because I'm ready to jump into today's session, and I'm really excited about bringing on this guest. We actually worked together on an anthology, and that was with Claudine Reid. There was, I think, maybe 50 different women almost that were on that anthology. So we didn't end up doing one book, we ended up doing 3. And I'm really excited because I have another anthology in the works that's just kicked off this week, and I wanted to share with you as well some of the things that I've been getting up to. And so that's one of the things I've been doing. Another thing that has just literally been released is James Aaron. He's an R&B artist, and his latest album is Table for One. And so we've just done his gorgeous coffee table book called Table for One, with his song lyrics and inspiration and words and everything else. Phenomenal pictures and everything inside. And please do, if you are interested and you're in the Birmingham area, he has a show on my birthday on Wednesday the 5th of August in Birmingham at the Sunflower Lounge. Check out his website, jamesaaron.com, and come join us, party, enjoy some good R&B, good clean R&B music. Hello, somebody. And also something very exciting, you're going to hear more about this. is, as we are talking today about love and relationships, I'm just like, let's just keep this theme going. So I'm going to have my actual sister, Marie Reed, and her husband, Clifton Reed, talking about their huge book called My Truth. And that's going to be a live in-person show because they're going to be at my house next weekend. So we're just like, let's cut the cameras on and let's do the journaling room live in person from my house next Friday evening. So you'll hear more about that. So again, as I was saying, without further ado, let us bring on my next guest. Her name is Janet McNish, and she is a relationship intelligence strategist. She's written a phenomenal book that I had the honor of helping her self-publish called 30 Pearls of Wisdom. So let us bring her on the stage. Welcome, Janet. It is so good to have you on today.
Hi, Camille. Well, thank you so much for inviting me. We finally got here.
Finally. Now, we wrote your book. I mean, we worked together on your book a good few years ago. Now, how long has your book been out?
Well, we were working on it throughout last year, and it was finally published in February 2026.
Amazing. So we're very, very excited. She's on brand. The colors are doing the coloring. It's just beautiful. And it's called 30 Pearls of Wisdom. Tell us more about the book.
So thank you, Camille. This book it's called 30 Pearls of Wisdom on Love and Relationships. And it's based on the fact that I've been counseling people about in the area of relationship and trauma for the past 30 years. So this is my 30th year. And I wanted, thank you, I wanted to mark it somehow, to celebrate it somehow. And I also recognize that not everyone can have counseling, not everyone wants it, not everyone actually needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be able to so what I've done is I've distilled 30 pearls of wisdom that I've learned. I've learned so many more things than 30 over the years, but we learn. I'm a great believer in turning your pain into purpose. Don't waste the pain. It hurts. It's awful. Something good has to come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's why I've named it pearls as well, because a pearl comes from pain. So little oyster has this. An oyster is actually very soft and it's housed in a shell. And when a bit of grit or parasite gets inside, it makes it really uncomfortable. So the pearl, so the oyster itself puts this protective layer around this parasite, and it just builds on it for years and years and years and years and years, trying to stop the pain. And then eventually the oyster does die. But
so congratulations on 30 years doing what you do. Not only do you do what you do though, Janet, you have counseled people from every continent. Is that correct?
yes, well, every continent except for Antarctica.
Amazing.
Yes. So in my practice, I'm based in London, and I do work with people I work with a lot of people from diverse backgrounds. Some are of Christian faith, some of no faith at all, but a real mixture of people, different cultures, and various. So I've had a lot of referrals and from people from around the world. So I've worked with people in different parts of Ghana, South Africa, Europe, different places in Europe,
Amazing.
America. So they've either come to my counseling room from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Or I had a map in my counseling room of the world, and when people would come in, I'd say, show me on the map where you're from. So I had all these different map colors, the different pins in there. But I do work with people overseas as well, and so and especially some of them have traveled, have emigrated somewhere else, and which has been part of their dream actually. And I maybe counsel or coach them through different things.
I love this. So you have literally experience from all over the world, all different types of people and relationships. Just make sure you can hear us okay. Tracy said that she's not hearing. Just let me know if you can hear us okay in the chat, please. But yes, you have counseled and coached people from all over the world. So I want some pearls. We need some pearls of wisdom. We're talking about love and relationships. We want some pearls and some wisdom that we can use in our lives. So do you want to share some of your pearls with us?
Yes. We can start with, I'm just going to say that the book is divided into 5 sections.
Awesome.
And each section has 6 chapters. So the first section is about self-love and self-leadership, because self-love, you can't lead yourself without.
I noticed that on your website, you did say that it starts with how we love ourselves first, even before the relationships and other people. It's about how we love ourselves. I think that's such an important message.
Indeed, yes, because how we treat people watch us. We don't know, we never know who's watching us, and people tend to pick up their cues of how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. So even being aware, it's important to be aware of your self-talk. If you stub your toe, you do something, it's like, what do you say to yourself? How harshly do you speak to yourself?
Good.
And although you may be a CEO running some magnificent corporation, but how do you treat yourself? And that affects all the relationships we have. And if we don't love ourselves effectively, then we're not going to, when real genuine love comes towards us, we're not used to it, and we could reject it, whether it's by way of friendship or romance, potential partners. We will reject it because we won't trust it, and we will repel it because our mind tends to go with what's familiar to us. So it's really important to love ourselves, and it's more than having a bubble bath. It's how you treat yourself. It's how, even when no one's looking. And it's a journey. Nobody's perfect, and it's accepting ourselves as being imperfectly perfect.
I love that. And the scripture as well that says, love others as you love yourself.
Yes.
So it really is a command to love yourself.
It is. Actually, should I read a little bit from that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So this is the first pearl. Love begins with you. Love your neighbor as yourself, which is in Mark chapter 12, verse 31. Maya Angelou also says, you alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anyone. So before we can give or receive love fully, we must begin with the relationship we have with ourselves. Too often as women, we are conditioned to put others first, erasing our own needs and our worth. But Jesus' command to love others as yourself reminds us that self-love is not selfish. It is sacred. Research in developmental psychology shows that the messages we absorb in childhood wire our brains for either secure or insecure self-worth. Without our awareness, these early scripts keep reapplying and repeating in our in our adulthood. When we practice self-compassion and learn to reframe our beliefs, we reshape the neural pathways in our brain that hold those lies in place. God calls us to be ourselves, calls us to see ourselves through his eyes, chosen, called, precious, beloved, and worthy, without doing anything. We can't earn that. Self-love is not pride or arrogance. It is an agreement with the one who made us. When you consistently honor, care for, and speak kindly to yourself, you set the tone for every other kind of relationship. You teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate, what you reinforce, and what you refuse to accept. As his light enters your heart through his word, the lies lose their power. Self-love rooted in God's truth frees you to give and receive love without fear or pretense. It is the wellspring from which healthy, nourishing connections flow.
Beautiful. So we're having to change our programming, and that's self-talk. I think that's so beautiful for a lesson in self-love and self-care. I loved what you said. What are you saying to yourself? And I
Yes.
think that's a great journaling prompt and things and something for people to be really aware of.
Yes, indeed. And talking about journaling prompts, I have those at the end of every chapter, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so for this chapter, we have so I've written journal, write down one untrue message you've believed about yourself. For example, I'm unlovable. I always mess things up. I'm always rejected. Something's wrong with me. Next to that sentence, that belief, replace it with the truth from God's word or a compassionate statement that you would say to a dear friend.
Mm.
And there's a creative option as well. If you're not comfortable writing, you might want to make a collage and find pictures online and put them together in one place, or cut them out of magazines, pictures that resonate, how that will resonate, that will represent how
Mm.
you'd like to be and how you'd like to feel about yourself.
I
And
love
there's also one action to take at the end of each as well. Put
It's
something
so good for the writers, for the creative brains, for the different people. There's something for everyone, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Let's go to the comments. And can I just say to everyone, I did ask Janet if she's up for taking some hot fire questions from people in the audience. And she said she is. She said she loves it. So if you have questions, this is a seasoned relationship therapist, counselor. So if you have questions, please feel free to use the chat box. And thank you for the comments so far. Someone says, Janet is brilliant. Love this. Someone else said this is great. Thank you, Janet. Great insight. Michelle here. She met you in February through a divine connection, and happy to be online to hear your wisdom. And Valerie's joining us. Good to see you, Valerie. She's saying, love the global impact, Janet. So yes, this is awesome. We've got Fiona joining us from Manchester, England. So we've got a full house tonight. And also Joss says, Janet is brilliant. I'm here for her knowledge and wisdom. Brilliant at her craft. Lovely person too. Very, very true. I can also vouch for that. So yes, Janet, let's talk some more. So we've talked about self-love, and I think you've given us some really great things to consider and think about, that internal conversation that we're having to ourselves. But can we talk about like romantic love? Like, come and let's share some of the experience and the gems that you've shared and helped other people with.
Ooh, oh gosh, so this is my favorite topic.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
About boys. I'm sorry, men. Relationships. Gosh, there was just so much. Has anyone got a question?
Yes, that would be amazing if anyone has a question. But Janet, in your experience, what are some of your, especially in relationship therapy, some of your kind of favorite things that happens, or breakthroughs, or, something that you either love to address, or give us something from your experience in counseling couples?
Okay. So yeah, I've counseled couples as well as individuals, for couples for over 25 years. So what I love is when a couple come to me, and there's usually one that's very reluctant, but they'll come. It's like, okay, I'll come, whether it's him or her. And what often happens is that what happens with the men is that, so I speak to them, I let them know at the beginning that I'm not here to take sides.
Mm-hmm.
It takes two to get to this position, and some of it you just got here almost by default. You don't know, we don't know what we don't know, so I'm not here to take sides. What's interesting is that happens nearly every time is that when I speak to a couple, we could be having our first session or our first assessment session. We meet, in our first hour, and maybe within half an hour or so, the wife or fiance or girlfriend might say, I didn't, how come I didn't know that about you, about the man? I like, what? I had no idea you thought that, or you felt that, or experienced that. And we've only been half an hour. I've known you 5 years, 30 years, and I'm just hearing this now.
Wow.
And he said, well, I didn't know how to bring it up, yeah, I didn't know how to bring it up. But Janet asked the right question, and she's made it clear already that she's here to support us. She's here to support the relationship, and she's, I've been testing her already, and she's not taken sides. So I felt safe to say it. And I don't want to and men, you just say, I don't want to, women, we tend to say, tell me everything. I want to know the whole complete truth. And then the men they start to tell us, and then we get really upset and really emotional, and that overwhelms them because they care about you, but they don't want to they don't know how to help you not be crying and shouting and screaming. So and that's often why they're often protecting your emotions and protecting their sense of helplessness, of like, you asked me, so I told you, yes, but right, and we rant and we rave. But so I help them to, so one, I help the men to bring up what's underneath the surface. And it may not be a huge thing, it may be something they feel vulnerable about, and they're able to share it. And the women, I help them. So I teach the couples to listen to each other. I haven't got them with me, but I have cards. So it's like speaker, listener. Yeah. So the person is speaking. We set the ground rules in the beginning. So the person is speaking holds the speaking card, and the person is listening. And then whenever someone tries to interrupt each other again, it's, they hold the card up, and it becomes a bit of a joke. We kind of make games out of it, and like, I'm speaking. So it helps them laugh, and and I also always ask at the beginning, how did you meet each other?
Nice.
How did you meet each other? How did you tell me how you got together, your love story, how you started? Oh, that's a long time ago, I don't remember that. Like, and then they start telling me, and no, it wasn't like that actually, and then they end up laughing, and it reminds them
Good.
of how they met, how they fell in love, and the journey they went on. And then later on, I'm able to say, where did things start to go wrong for you? But I love hearing how people meet. I ask taxi drivers, I ask everybody, how did you meet your wife? I love it. Yeah. And it just reminds them.
I love that. And I love that early breakthrough in the room. Like, it's been only half an hour and you've already got to the root of the thing. I love that you've go back to how they began as a couple, which leads us to a question that we have from the audience. And Valerie asks, let me go back to this other question that she had. She asks, what made you become a counsellor?
Valerie. Valerie always asks brilliant questions. Oh gosh, I was going through a lot of depression and anxiety, and the depression I experienced was so bad that I couldn't even leave my house.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't leave my house. A long, long time ago. I felt a lot of shame. I've been through a lot of trauma. I just believed everything was my fault. And eventually, after speaking to more than 25 counsellors to see if I could trust them, a few trust issues. I'll say more about that another time, but spoke to 25, and I know it's 25 because I wrote in my journal, Lord, you told me I don't have to go through things by myself. And if, so how come I've spoken to over 25 counsellors? I did a grid and everything, what I liked about them, what I didn't, what I wasn't, the ones I crossed off for sure. When I turned up, she had all these, witchcraft things, and I wasn't really feeling the witchcraft. And and then there's some others that had some things that I thought, some felt very judgmental, or I couldn't connect. So I eventually found somebody, and I worked with her for well over a year, about a year and a half or so. And during that time, I learned that you can go through experiences in life that people write you off. Say, just they can write you off, or say you're damaged goods or whatever, and you're just written off, and that's a label you're tarred with, for the rest of your life. But it's not the truth. And I also learned, counselling helped me to get free of shame. I did see a Christian counsellor, and learned that my value isn't in what I do. It's who I am, who God created me to be, and who I am. And it gave me a safe space to work out which bits were the real me, the mischievous, humorous side, the creative side. Those are really, really me. The empathic side, the curious side, those were really, really me. And there were other parts where the perfectionism and got to do this right, and I was really extremely driven. I was doing very well in my design business I did then. But basically, I learned which bits were real and which weren't, and I had learned to become more authentic. And I just thought, wow, I didn't know before I had counselling with this person. Thank you, Janet. I didn't know that you can go through these things and learn to like and love yourself and really value yourself. You have this freedom. So that's, and I just thought, I can't just keep this to myself. I need to let people know. So, I was doing outreach as well. This is also important. I was doing outreach with my church. I was involved with leading outreach in Earl's Court area, a lot of drugs, vice in that area, rent boys, rent girls. It's such a sordid, sad area. So I was doing that with my church, and and I was hearing the people's stories, and my heart was breaking. And I thought, I want to do more than pray. And so I went and did an introduction to counselling training, so I could learn how to set emotional boundaries and not be staying out until 3 a.m. when I need to get up at 6 to go to work, because I just wanted to kind of help these people. Yeah, so it taught me about boundaries as well.
Nice.
The introduction was great. I absolutely loved it. And it was a good foundation for me, but I didn't think I'd become a counsellor. I didn't think I was bright enough. I knew I was creative. I knew I was arty. I didn't think I could go to university and do counselling, but God opened this way for me. And I went and trained at City University and passed with flying colours and etc. And I've been doing it since. So I went, I was encouraged, and it was a miracle that I even got in, really. And so I've loved it. I absolutely love it.
Do you feel like you've become the counsellor that you wanted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never that before. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love that. Valerie said, thank you for being so transparent. Another listener says, Janet is brilliant and inspirational. Love this. Someone else has said, thank you for sharing, Jan. Very informative and inspiring. Okay, we've got another question. So what does it mean when God says wait regarding a life partner you haven't met yet? Does it mean to be passive or to be expectant while being active?
Okay. Does it mean being passive? It doesn't mean being passive. My understanding of waiting is about waiting well. And what does waiting well mean? I think it's important for us to learn to love ourselves, know our purpose. If I don't know my purpose, how do I know what sort of man I'm going to become a helpmate to? And it's not that hard. I actually have an article on my website about how to find your purpose. So 7 tips of finding your purpose. But I also do that in a very deep way with people, in a coaching way, if that's what people want. But knowing your purpose helps you stay focused and not distracted by things. Knowing your purpose, get as much healing done in advance so that you're not making your future husband pay for the pain that was caused by other people. And also, where we've been through pain for relationships and difficulties, those people have gone about their business, living their life. They're not even giving you a second thought, and you're still like, years later, dragging them around, and it wears you out, stops your creativity, can make you ill, and so part of that is forgiveness as well. The forgiveness process, learning to forgive, which is a choice. And what is great about the Lord is that he doesn't ask us to do anything he won't give us the power to do. And I've done a lot of forgiving. I have a way have a workshop on forgiveness
Wow.
as well, because it's you just have to, because unforgiveness okay, I'm a bit flippant, but I say unforgiveness gives you wrinkles, and if you're waiting for your partner, you don't want to add to your wrinkles. I'm being light about it, but it weighs you down.
Yeah.
Stops you seeing things clearly, and you have peace. The feelings might need to catch up, but can I just say something about forgiveness? Forgiveness is important, in that so if there's forgiveness is that I choose not to keep punishing you for what you did for me, and telling everyone what that person did. He did this to me, she did that to me. Do you know what? I choose to not do that. I choose to forgive that, to let go of that person, and they owe me. It's about forgiving from the heart. I choose to forgive from my heart for what you did. I've worked with a lot of sexual abuse survivors, and I train in that area. I've trained, we're not doing it so much now, but I've trained crisis centers and counselors and mental health projects and how to work with all of this. Forgiveness is key, because so with forgiveness, it's about me not holding on to everything and making them owe me. But some people say that the unforgiveness makes them feel powerful and strong, because it protects them, because it keeps people away, but it also makes you lonely. Yeah. And the Bible also says, we need to forgive so that God can forgive us. But I was just talking about the other practical things as well as the spiritual. So with forgiveness, it's my decision. I decide to forgive that person for A, B, and C. It doesn't let them off the hook, because we do reap what we sow.
Yeah.
There is a cause and there's an effect.
Yeah.
And I believe that each person needs to give an account for when it comes to the end. If a crime has been committed, if you take them to court, it doesn't mean you haven't forgiven them, because there needs to be, God is a God of justice. Yeah. But it's your choice as to whether you take them to court. I'm trying to keep this concise because it's a massive topic. So it's my choice, but I choose to forgive that person for doing this, that, and the other, or not doing this, that, and the other for me. And I choose to not hold it against them. And I choose to accept that they owe me nothing. That's really hard. That's really hard. And one of a comfort in that is that I learned years ago that outrageous success is the best revenge. So it's not about, you don't let that drive you, but don't let them rob any more from you.
Yeah.
So the forgiveness takes one person. Reconciliation takes two different things. There's a lot of pressure on people that you have to reckon, that people say, if you've forgiven them, then you'll invite them back in, you'll get back together, they can come back and live in your house, even though they might have beat you black and blue. Yeah. It's not the same. Reconciliation means it takes two people. So if someone's harmed me, caused a lot of grief to me, and they're not a safe person to be around, I deem them not as a safe person, because they've shown me who they are and caused harm. And then it's important for me to keep myself safe, but also for reconciliation to happen, the other person the offending person needs to come to me and say, actually, I did do this and I was wrong, and I'm really sorry for the harm or hurt I've caused you. Please let me know how I can make that up to you. If you've got any ideas, or what can I do to show that I'm truly sorry. They have no, but but they need to allow you, that person needs to allow me the decision. Do I actually want to have another conversation with you about that, or do I not? Do I want to even see you again, or do I not? Yeah. Like that. But I don't have to reconcile with that person that's and sometimes it's wise, it's very often wise not to reconcile with somebody. And if you're in a circle, like you're in your community group or church or family, you may need to just see them at a distance. And I've had to do this. I've had to go to certain settings where there's some people that I've had difficulty with.
Mm-hmm.
They've not taken responsibility for their part in what they've done. And it's like, I've been, I've freed myself. And what I've done is I've gone over, I know I've freed myself. I wish them well. If I hear something's not going well for somebody, I'm like, Lord, help me to forgive that person so much that I will even pray for them. Let me know when you want to pray for them, because it's not going to be natural for me to do that. But it's happened, and I've seen the answers that have come through for them, and I'm like, so it's more personal. I'm being a bit more personal than I planned, but reconciliation takes the other person as well, and I can choose how close I want to let that person into my life. But I see them. I'm not going to let them rob me from being in a circle where other people are fine with me, and I will go, and I might even say hello to them, so it's done. Good evening, good morning, move.
Sure.
So it's done my bit, and I'm just going to enjoy. I'm not going to let someone rob me anymore. So that's forgiveness.
That's so good. We've got a question from Marcia. Thank you for joining us. She's asked for an example of a boundary in relationships, which actually leads quite nicely. I'm going to share the link, Janet, to your Pearls experience, because I know you have things around boundaries in there as well. So do check out janetmcnish.com. She's got a Pearls experience coming up in the next few weeks here. And so talk to us about boundaries in relationships. You've touched on forgiveness, you've touched on quite a few things there, but what about boundaries?
Okay. Let me first define boundaries. Thanks, Maria. Great question. I know Maria. Boundaries. So boundaries are they're fences. It's not a brick wall, and there are essentially three types of boundaries, three categories. There are porous boundaries. That's like you're like a sponge and you soak up everything. People can come into your house and just take things from your house. They can take things from you. You just say yes to everything because you just say yes to everything, and you just soak up everyone's emotions and take responsibility for everything and everybody and all of that. It's very exhausting.
People pleaser.
Yeah, definitely. People when we tend to be people pleasers, which I was. So I'm so strong on boundaries because I didn't have any. I never said that publicly before, but it's I say it in my groups, if I'm teaching, but I didn't have any, and that's where some of the trauma came from. And as women, we're conditioned to be nice and accommodating all the time, and but there needs to be healthy boundaries. So we get soaked up, we can get abused, we can get just used and worn out and ill. So that's porous boundaries. And then sometimes when we've had enough and we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, we just say, that's it. No one's going to hurt me again. No one's going to do that to me. And I'm not going to let anyone in. No one's coming near me. So what we then do is set up a rigid boundary. That's like a brick wall, fortress. And I'm just hiding behind this thing. No one can come in. And I don't get hurt. You don't get hurt. You don't get abused. You don't get used. You don't get taken advantage of or taken for granted. But it keeps the bad out, but it also keeps the good out. It stops connection. It stops fun, joy, because you're so busy defending yourself, which is also exhausting. So, and in terms of relationships, that's why it's important to heal, because when we've been through difficult things and we end up having very rigid boundaries, people can pick that up. Men especially, they're kind of like hunters. They know they're men, but they're kind of like hunters, and they can, and even men and women, we have intuition. Intuition, and they can sense that you're defended, that you're really protecting yourself. And men generally think, but there are so many women around. Yes, why are they going to? They're like, what? She looks great. She's bright. She's articulate. She's doing great things in her life, but I can tell she's really defended. There's some fortress there. They can sense it, and they don't know what it is. And a decent man isn't going to want. He's not going to want to untangle. Most men are not going to want to untangle what that is.
Do that work.
So I'd say we need to do the work to make, and it's not that everything needs to be sorted out, but we do need to do the work, and also with that defendedness, unscrupulous men, dodgy men, and dodgy so-called friends can also tell that you've been really hurt, that you're like a wounded animal, you're a wounded child, you're wounded, and they can pick that up because you're so defended. And people that, the chancellors, the people that want to come and take advantage, use you for whatever is available, once they've kind of, and they know that you've been protected and that you're protecting yourself, and they might try and come in that way. It's like, oh, you've been through hurt, and they try and find out what happened, and don't tell them everything, what that last person did to you, because they'll think, okay, so if she let them do that to her, then I can do it too. How can she love herself enough? Then I can do it as well. The dodgy blokes will pick that up.
Wow.
Yeah. Onto the third kind of boundaries. They are the healthy boundaries. So that's somewhere in between. It's not just one point. It's not just one point. It's actually, there's a continuum. So there's the soft boundaries. There's a soft bit here. The porous boundaries, and the ridges boundaries, which is jaggy. And then along the way, and somewhere along the middle-ish area, is a healthy boundary. So there's a gate that, for example, a fence, and then the fence has a gate in it. I have the control of the gate. I decide who comes in. Am I going to open the gate and I'm going to talk to you over the gate? I'm going to let you come in a little bit. Am I going to let you come in? But do it bit by bit by bit. Let people demonstrate their trustworthiness bit by bit. And I've got 6 chapters about boundaries in the book.
Incredible.
That show you how to start setting them and how to establish them. And my Pearls course teaches you how to establish boundaries and how to deal with the guilt that comes as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Maria. That blessed me. I hope that blessed you too. That was a really great question. And thank you for opening up and sharing so much, Janet. Valerie's laughing because she's like, Janet spilling her own tea right now. So thank you so much.
I hope my husband doesn't see this.
Thank you so much for sharing. This has been so rich. And also the Pearls experience, that link is in the chat. Go to janetmcnish.com. And again, her book, 30 Pearls of Wisdom, phenomenal truths about relationships and love. Janet's got 30 years of incredible experience all over the world. And Valerie did ask earlier on about your work around the world, and actually if you have seen a difference between cultures and continents and relationships. Is there any kind of thing interesting there in terms of couples and what you've seen and what you've noticed?
Oh, wow. Yes, different cultures. There were some cultures like in the West, couples are very much on their own. They make their own decisions generally, which is important. And they're just left to it. It's like, oh, he likes me, I like him, vice versa. Let's just go for it. And it's nothing to do with anybody else. So in the West, culture is very individualized. So I encourage people to date in community. You see how they treat other people, and you can see, in your community, their community, and but don't go off on your own too much too soon, because you don't get a truer reflection of them. And there are other cultures. My family from Jamaica, and in our culture, we don't get too involved in other people's. Is also almost quite individual. People have a lot to say about it, but they don't get as involved as my friends in African cultures, in African cultures, generally in Nigeria, and Ghana and so on. It affects the whole family. But then also when you're in trouble, your family come together and they help you. And there's usually a wise person, that's, a wise couple that you could speak to, and that can guide you. So so actually I was this is too long. I don't know how long we got, but yeah, I was engaged a few years ago, and I cancelled my wedding 3 months before. One of the best decisions I made. And I was in my 40s, and the couple, we had different couples, but there's one in particular who were from Sierra Leone. So I used to, anyway, but yeah, this elderly couple, they were in their 70s and 80s, incredible, so wise, like the auntie and uncle you always wished you had. And they kind of supported me and supported him and so on and so forth, and they gave us a lot of guidance. That was, and we also eventually went to couples counselling. He wouldn't go. It's like, well, but it's I think it's good to have mentors around that. And yes, it is your decision, but it's just richer. You share, your marriage isn't just for you. It's you're to be a blessing as well to those around you. Again, have boundaries around that. But yeah, those are, so basically the West are very individualistic, to the culture of that. Oh, sorry, except for Italians. Italians and some South Americans.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Rich globe trot we just did there around the world in terms of relationships. And then Maria's like, I want more, I need the course. So I put the link in the chat. Go to janetmcnish.com and check out her Pearls experience, which is coming up on the 20th of August. We have had a phenomenal show. We normally go for 20 minutes. I knew this was going to go on longer, but we've had such a great time. Janet, thank you for joining us today. And then my final question that I ask everyone is, what is life teaching you right now in this season of your life?
Life is teaching me life is teaching me that love is beautiful, but it's not enough. And there's on its own, it's not enough. And it's important for us to be open to learning and growing and healing, doing the work. And as I was writing the book, and as I write the workshops and the program, I'm challenged on another level. I can't be telling people about setting boundaries, and the hardest boundaries to set are the ones with ourselves. So I can't be telling people about setting boundaries without implementing them myself. And there are ways, just things like, I just think, okay, one of the things I've mentioned is sometimes I don't go to bed early enough, and I know, and I get up very early. I'm not an early bird, but just the way my lifestyle is, I get up very early. And that's not the best act of self-love. And why am I doing certain, I don't need to do certain things at certain times of night. So although I've been counseling for 30 years, I'm still learning. I'm always doing CPD myself, always reading. I've just finished a 10-week relationship, how to be in love relationship coaching course that was in America. So there were 7 hours behind us. I was in England doing it. So, I'm always learning. This is people who coach Hollywood stars. So I just wanted to learn, just upskill and learn some things myself. And it's nice that they invited me to be part of their team. It's like, I thought that's lovely, but yeah, but it's just keep growing and just being open and remain curious.
Yeah.
I'm learning that I've always been curious. In 4-year-olds, I was, why this, why that? We'll do that. I've never grown out of it. And as we keep curious about all kinds of things, we keep learning, and it helps us stay young, healthy, vibrant. So yeah, and I like being curious.
Love that. Thank you so much, Janet. I don't know if anyone has a takeaway they want to share. My takeaway is definitely staying in tune with that internal conversation that I'm having and how I'm responding to myself and being kind to myself. That's been a really big takeaway for me today, and people are so grateful. Justice says, wonderful show. Thank you, Janet. Joanne says, thank you, Janet. This has been insightful and honest. And Lucy said, thanks, Janet. Brilliant discussion as usual. Loved your knowledge on forgiveness. Blessings, Lucille. So that's incredible. So Janet, again, thank you so much for joining us. And yes, the different kinds of boundaries. That I took notes on that one. The 3 different kinds of boundaries. That was really interesting, and just thinking about where I am on that spectrum. So yeah, again, and then Michelle says blessings. So again, 30 Pearls of Wisdom. It's available on Amazon, paperback. It's available on Kindle. So please do get your copy. Look up Janet McNish, 30 Pearls of Wisdom. Get your copy today. She'll be able to see those people that have joined and purchased copies. So thank you so much for supporting her work. And if you want to know more, please go to janetmcnish.com. Tell us a bit more about the services that you do and that you have that people can tap into. Thank you.
First, Camille, I want to thank you for being my big book midwife, getting me through this. Thank you. Book midwife.
Sometimes I'm a coach, sometimes I'm a midwife, sometimes it's like, bear down and push.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll do this. Yeah, just you've been absolutely brilliant, and I highly recommend you. So thank you. Yeah, so I do counselling. I do one-to-one counselling. I have a program that I have a program called the Pearls Experience, and the next one is starting in September. So the Pearls Experience is on my website, and we've got some testimonials there from some of the women. We've had married women, single women in situationships, different cultural backgrounds as well have been in the group, and they've all come away with great value and been able to make a shift in their relationships in different levels, in work and so on. So the Pearls Experience starts in September, and that's a 10-week program where we meet once a week, and not once a week, we meet for 6 sessions, but there's more details on that on the website. I'm also having a workshop coming up on the 20th of August, and that is based on the first pearl. So it's the first pearl and the boundaries. So we're touching a bit on self-love, but also boundaries are in that. So that's a 90-minute workshop on the 20th of this month, and that's going to be online. That's on Thursday, 2 Thursdays time. So please come along, and you get a sample in a way of what it's like to be on the program. So come along, share. Yeah, and please follow me on social media. I'll be doing some more posts and sharing some information and encouragement, a few times a week. So come and find me, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Incredible. Heather said, I've loved every minute of this, all 53 minutes. Thank you so much, Heather. We went way longer than usual, but I knew that we would. This has been a brilliant show. Again, Janet, thank you so much for being on. Bless you so much. Awesome. This has been the Journaling Room with my incredible guest, Janet McNish. It's been awesome having her on, speaking about her book, 30 Pearls of Wisdom. Please do grab your copy on Amazon, sit down, have a good read. It breaks down, there's different sections, and yeah, there's some real deep wisdom in that book. I was blessed when I got to read it the first time as we were going through the publishing journey with her book. So again, if you would
like to join the community and kind of dig in more, as I said, on the 30th of September, we'll be doing our quarterly journaling experience and quarterly planning, reflecting on the quarter before, planning and setting goals for Q4, and also looking at our style and how our style lines up with our goals and all of that good stuff. So if you're interested in journaling, in quarterly planning, the school community is in the chat. It's the Journaling Experience Academy. And it's just been awesome being on here, and looking forward to joining you again next Monday. And one Friday, I think the Friday after that, I will be having Clifton and Marie Reed, my sister, my actual sister, and my brother-in-law, talking about their book, My Truth. It feels like a whole relationship month we're going to have. Love and relationships. Janet's kicked us off, and I'm like, okay, let's just keep this train rolling. So there's a few different authors that I've been working with, different books on relationships, on dating, on all sorts of tea that we're going to be having over the next couple of weeks, just staying on this theme over the month of August on love and relationship. So Valerie's laughing. Valerie says, so it's not always going to be an hour long then. Yeah, we've had a really long show today, but it's been incredible. It's been so rich. And as someone already said, loved every minute of it. Janet has been a phenomenal guest. I'm sure we will have her on again. She's doing some really incredible things. So thank you again for joining us in the Journaling Room live today. For all those that have joined, that have jumped in, jumped off, thank you so much. Appreciate all the love and support, and excited about all the things we have coming up. All the best, and see you next Monday.